Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our service for the first Sunday of August. Hard to believe that it's already August, but here we are. We've made it this far. And so today, the theme of our service for August 2nd is "You've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself." Quote from Linda from The Wizard of Oz. So today is all about using mythology to guide us in difficult and challenging times. And in particular, the story of The Wizard of Oz that I've done a talk on before, but this is actually a different take on it. So I'm feeling you're really going to enjoy this. As always, we start the service by lighting our candle. So as we watch the flame get stronger and brighter, it once again reminds us that we are first and foremost spiritual beings. We are the light of the world, as Jesus told us many years ago. And we look to each other this morning for the light, to see it in our lives, to give us hope, perhaps, if we're faltering, to strengthen us in our faith that all will be well in these uncertain times. And so we put the candle on its stand during our service, just as a visible reminder of that presence that is always with us, who we really are on our heroes' and heroines' journeys. To start us off this morning, we have a song that I've played once before, and it's called The Hero's Journey, and it's by Susan K. Wyatt. So please enjoy our opening song.
Look directly at your fear and trust the voice that's whispering in your ear. Every life, every day is a hero's journey. Every life, every day is a hero's journey. Listen to the sound. Can you hear the message? Listen to the sound beckoning to you. Say passage. journey. Listen to the sound. Can you hear the message? Listen to the sound. Beckoning to you, safe passage. Every night, every day, it's a hero's journey. Every night, every day, it's a hero's journey. Listen to the sound. Can you hear the message? Listen to the sound. Beckoning to you, safe passage. Every night, every day, it's a hero's journey. 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 Listen to the sound. Can you hear the message? Listen to the sound.
All right, so a reminder there that we're all on the hero's journey, the heroine's journey. And for my invocation this morning, I turned to Joseph Campbell, that great mystic, really, and his wonderful insights into the power of myth. And I have some quotes from him. He says, "The experience of eternity, right here and now, is the function of life." So the function of life is an experience of eternity. Heaven is not the place to have the experience. Here is the place to have the experience. So this points us again, just like Leonard Jacobson has been doing recently in our Liberating Jesus series, pointing us to the power of the present moment. That it seems sort of strange and odd that if we jump fully into this limited little second, that somehow eternity opens up to us. And I think, as strange as that sounds, we know it's also true. Another quote says, "Apocalypse does not point to fiery Armageddon, but to the fact that our ignorance and our complacency are coming to an end." Yea, God. So if we look around and we feel like things are really just all falling apart, that it's really our ignorance and our complacency. We've been complacent about a lot of things, just assuming that things would change and everything would get better. And I think we're realizing now, no, all hands have to be on deck. We must be actively involved. And then he says, what is the kingdom? It lies in our realization of the universality of the divine presence in our neighbors, in our enemies, in all of us. Again, pointing to this incredible presence that the myths try to point out to us in our own lives. And then one of his great insights that I used to share when I worked at hospice as the chaplain, he says, life has no meaning. Each of us has meaning, and we bring it to life. It is a waste to be asking the question when you are the answer. This is a really powerful insight. He said, people say that what we're all seeking is meaning for life. I don't think that's what we're seeking, really. I think that what we're seeking is an experience of being alive, so that our life experiences on the purely physical plane will have resonances with our innermost being and reality, so that we actually feel the rapture of being alive. The goal of life is to make your heartbeat match the beat of the universe, to match your nature with nature. So we spend so much of our time in the mind trying to figure things out, don't we? We're trying to make meaning probably of this strange time on the planet. And what he's pointing to us is that that's really not what satisfies. but it's this engagement with the life force that is within us. Are we really alive, even now, in the midst of so many restrictions? That's really the question. And he says, we're so engaged in doing things to achieve purposes of outer value that we forget the inner value. The rapture that is associated with being alive is what it's all about. And it has always been within us. Discovering it is the hero's journey. And so again, we're reminded that, as he says, we're given the opportunity to follow our bliss. And that isn't just about, having wonderful experiences or something. No, it's about something very deep inside of us. That is truly a great journey. It's a spiritual journey. It's discovering the depths of our being. And it is truly a hero and heroine's journey. And so we will look further at that during my talk today. And so we come to our time of prayer, and we continue to pray for Sean Bennett. And we pray for Susie Wisner there in the center. Prayers requested from our friend Anne. Continue to pray for Andy and Karen Holman. And prayers especially this morning for Marceline Baycock, who has really been having a lot of challenges with everything that's going on. And so we pray for a return to health and wholeness for her, that she may see and know this divine presence that is within her. Prayers too for Richard Wood, for Charlie and Will McBride, for Ken Luton, for Tony Tucker, Nancy Helm and her cat Henry, for Shannon Keir, for Jackie and Richard. And I would like to express my own thanks and Dennis's thanks for all of your love and prayers over this past week following the passing of our beloved Zeke, Australian Shepherd. Fortunately, I was off last Sunday, and we had to have him put down on Saturday, so it was a tough time, but very grateful for all of your support and prayers. So we pause to add any other prayers at this time. And ask you to join me in our prayer here on the screen. Infinite and intimate and inner God, we desire to deepen into presence, freedom, love, truth, and oneness. As we notice any repressed emotions within us that act as an obstacle to our deepening into these qualities, we trust that you will orchestrate our lives to trigger those emotions so that they will surface into consciousness and responsible expression for healing, completion, and release. We are ripe for the fruits of the Spirit to blossom in our lives like never before, especially freedom and love. And so it is. So this week, I'm not going to have a meditation. We're going to go into a beautiful, beautiful piece of music that I just want us to have time with. And it's called We All Need a Prayer by Michael Gott, who is the Unity Minister in Houston, Texas.
We're all in this life together, living a mystery. Our days are touched by joy, touched by pain, asking why. Searching for hope before an open door. We all need a prayer to remind us who we are. Somehow we keep forgetting, lost in the shadows, holding broken hearts, broken dreams. Love is there, grace in the presence, standing in truth, standing in power, one with the one. We all need a prayer. Our hearts are yearning for the truth. When we feel alone, when we can't find our way, the answers are right here. We stand before an open door. We all need a prayer to remind us who we are. Open now and feel your heart. The power is in you. The answers are all here. You stand before an open door. We all need a prayer to remind us who we
All right, what a beautiful song. Michael is such a wonderful human being, wonderful minister, and very talented singer-songwriter. So my talk today is, in the bulletin at least, it says somewhere over the rainbow. So I have done some talks in the past, as I said, on this theme. Today's is a different rendition of it again. It could be called Understanding a Girl, Her Friends, and a Mythical Rainbow. As we know, myths are important because they tell us the greater story of our own lives. They're part of the coded DNA of the human psyche, teaching us that even when bad things happen, there's a deeper story going on behind them. Myths give us the encouragement, the impetus, and the passion for the possible, and to continue believing in it. The myths also often deal with characters who are ourselves writ large. And that's what Jean Houston sought to uncover in her book, The Wizard of Us, Transformational Lessons from Oz, that my talk is based on today. And so the first theme, you could say, is desires, obstacles, and life's tornado. Both the wonderful Wizard of Oz book by Frank Baum, published in 1900, and the 1939 film, yes, 1939, it won't be long before it'll be 100 years of existence. Both of them begin with Dorothy feeling a tremendous yearning. I think we're all familiar with that feeling of being called into a larger life somewhere over the rainbow, as she says in the song. And perhaps that feeling is rising up again in us right now because of the strange circumstances that we're finding ourselves in. We're having to dig deeper, and that yearning is there for things to be normal. However, we invariably run into all kinds of obstacles, difficulties, and unexpected situations to fulfill that yearning. And myths tell us how to work through those events, how to see those challenges as opportunities, to get home again as expanded, deepened, and importantly, more compassionate versions of ourselves. And of course, the journey always begins with a call. And in this case, Dorothy is living in an outmoded situation. Her uncle and aunt can't be bothered by whatever she wants to tell them because they're busy counting their chickens, living the American way of life as farmers. So, disheartened, Dorothy runs away and starts her own journey, following that longing for that home somewhere. And in the film, she goes first to a New Age fellow, Professor Marvel, maybe a bit of a rascal, but he's a very good man in many ways, which we see once Dorothy gets to the Emerald City, and he, as Oz, gives her the means and the visions to go back home. However, the twister must come first. It often takes something very stressful or creatively monstrous to get us moving, doesn't it? We know we've got to get going, but we still refuse the task. We get complacent. We think, not now, later, there'll be time down the road. Maybe when the children are grown, or maybe when I have more money, or more time, or when I'm skinnier. There's always an excuse. Sometimes, or maybe always, it takes a tornado to get us on our way. Or maybe, in our case, a pandemic. And in the story, then, there is a mythical road that Dorothy sets off on. And of course, then, there are the characters that she meets along the way. And in the movie, everything is in black and white to begin with. However, when Dorothy arrives in the land of Oz, she opens the door into blazing Technicolor. In this new world, she must acquire certain attributes she didn't have back in Kansas, like intelligence, heart, and courage. And it's notable that when her house lands on the Wicked Witch of the East, Dorothy doesn't see this as a triumph. She's filled with compassion and apologizes. She didn't mean to kill her. Then Glinda, the Good Witch of the North, arrives. And Glinda is the divine purposefulness within each of us that activates something extraordinary. She also gives us good warning when we're losing our way. Glinda, of course, gives Dorothy the gift of the ruby slippers. But as is often true in many of our stories and of the great stories, it's a gift she doesn't quite understand how to use. Of course, she's going to find out in the end that this gift is a way to go back to the home of the heart. However, first she needs the acuity of the senses in this incredible lush world to carry out the task of following the road of spiritual pollen, the yellow brick road. You could say the yellow breadcrumbs that the vine puts there for us to walk on. That yellow brick road, which you find in myths all around the world, carries us onto who and what we really are. and lures us into the deeper parts of ourselves where we're a little hesitant to go. But we must uncover and develop all of this potential that is within us. And for that, we need allies on the journey, don't we? I said this myself last week to the board that I just can't imagine going through life's ups and downs without a spiritual community supporting you, supporting me, and the prayer support that comes in challenging times. For Dorothy, the characters of the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion can be seen as the disenfranchised parts of herself that she needs to bring together in order to get to the ultimate source of power, the wizard within. So she first meets the Scarecrow, who's stuck in a very unhappy life. This poor fellow doesn't think he has a brain, but it turns out he's pretty smart after all. We know that many people have been disenfranchised from their own lives, from their own intelligence, because they don't recognize there are different kinds of intelligence and giftedness. There's, you could say, a feminine intelligence and a masculine intelligence. And this story in particular focuses on the feminine intelligence. And as we know, our brains are incredibly malleable. The new field of neuroplasticity shows us how we can truly repattern our brains, regaining the ability to think and feel in different ways and tap into the incredible creative processes that are going on beneath the surface of consciousness all the time. And next, Dorothy meets the disempowered heart, the Tin Man. He's been rusted in the forest. His rusted heart represents those great longings we all have. We have access to a tremendous emotional spectrum, but our society has not always permitted the largeness of this emotional possibility, particularly for women, also for gay men, and many others. We must really activate our heart-mind, our ability to cross the great divide of otherness, in order to experience radical empathy and have love for one another. This is a call that is coming from our African American brothers and sisters in their communities right now, to each one of us, by the way. This is not a time when we can say, oh no, this isn't for me. No, it is. Each one of us must really do the work to relate to the experience of the African American communities in this time. And finally, Dorothy meets the cowardly lion. He represents the fear that abides within us all, especially today when we're always facing the unexpected. Most of us have not been trained or prepared for a time of so much complexity, of such daily challenge. So really, the story is to be gentle with yourself and your responses, and to others. The cowardly lion, who has been fearfully living in the corner of the forest, joins his new friends on the road of the great adventure, where he discovers that he actually does have immense courage. He may be scared, but the cowardly lion is able to perform heroic actions, in part because he doesn't have to do it alone. Neither do we. We can be part of a caring community like we have here at Unity. And the message is in the story loud and clear that there is a heroine's journey, a journey of caring and compassion, and that's also our story. You know, I don't know if you sort of noticed that most of the myths were always about men, boys, masculine, and they're slaying dragons, and they're doing all these things. This story is the female heroine's journey. And we have each of these three personae within ourselves. You know, we have the great mind, counter part of that being the Scarecrow. We do also have the great heart, even though we fear perhaps we're a tin man. And we have great courage and spirit, even though we can be very fearful at times. The fact that there is a heroine in this extraordinary fable is so important because she brings her understanding of caring, compassion, and relationship to that spiritual journey. And that is what is underlying the entire heroine's journey as compared to the more classical hero's journey. And Dorothy's forward movement is often a reaction to helping someone else, isn't it? I don't know if you noticed that, such as throwing a bucket of water on the Scarecrow to put out the flames, and inadvertently killing the Wicked Witch of the West. Helping others is her great strength, and a random goodness seems to follow her around, which, of course, the story is telling us that this is the nature of the universe. There is random goodness around every corner, and that it's our nature too. So if we return to the opening of the movie, shortly after Dorothy is trying to get Auntie M's attention and is rejected, Dorothy goes off and sings that beautiful song, Over the Rainbow, which we will get to hear in a few minutes. The rainbow is a very common symbol in mythology and an all-important symbol in the story, of course, of the Wizard of Oz, and it's central to the story. And it has many meanings. It represents all the colors of our visible spectrum. You could say it's the completeness, the wholeness that is all around us and within us. It's also important to note that the rainbow we see is only half of what is actually a great circle. The message is clear to us that we are rainbow people, people of so many different colors. And if we're going to survive, it's going to take the full rainbow of our planetary civilization to create a dynamic, peaceful community. A community of different skin colors, ethnicities, creeds, and faiths. We need an extended co-creative community if we're going to thrive. And that's why this incredible story is so important. It's intercultural, it's interspecies. You've got a little white girl from the Midwest, a little black dog. You have the vegetable kingdom and the straw scarecrow. You have the mineral kingdom and the tin man, and the animal kingdom of the cardinal lion. And it's also the chasing of the rainbow with all of us together that puts us on the road of extraordinary adventure, where we really begin to discover the gold of the heart that is at the end of this rainbow. The end of the journey is that we discover this great loving heart that beats within us, the heart of the divine, of the universe itself. And that, yes, we are all in it together. Maybe we could all do ourselves a favor and watch The Wizard of Oz this week. Let it remind us of the wisdom that it contains to help us journey on the spiritual yellow brick road during these pandemic days. And so I have 3 questions for us this morning. Bring up on the screen. Which of these 3 characteristics of the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, or the Lion do you need to develop in your life? Is it the fear of your own intelligence? Is it a fear of your heart? Or is it fear of fear? What do the red shoes represent to you? So what I'm going to try again, this time hopefully a little more successfully. Didn't quite get it right last week, but going to have us go into breakout rooms and just have a look at these questions. And you can answer them as you like or not. But which of those 3 characters represents where you need to develop yourself? And as I say, what do the red shoes mean to you? Here we go. You may have to accept to get into a room, so just pay attention. Sorry. Okay. Thanks, Christy. So what I was saying is that people were unsure about the red shoes. So I'm just going to give you my 2 cents worth. Baum wrote the story in the tradition of German folk tales. And so there's a lot of, rules and regulations about what you can say and what you write and all the rest. And I see we have a lion over here on the screen. Look at her with her mane. Oh my God, Kathy Lee, you're hysterical. I don't know if you can all see her with her mane of hair. Oh, anyway, now I've lost my train of thought. So red symbolized blood. It symbolized life force. And I'm not altogether sure of this, but I think the shoes represent all 3 characteristics. That you must have heart, you must have a strong mind, and that you must have the courage to overcome your fears, and that you stand in your power of who you are. That's what the red shoes represent, standing in the power of who and what you are, remembering who you are, and then utilizing your mind, faith, your heart, love, and courage to overcome fears. So that's my take on what the shoes are all about. All right. Hope you had a good time sharing. So let's continue with our new power sentence and words for August. I release resistance and experience acceptance. And as always, we have our prosperity affirmation, which is so simple and so beautiful. So let's all say it together. I give in love because I love to give. And again, so much gratitude. So man, I would be so stressed if we were in financial straits because of what's happened. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your ongoing support that has seen us stay in the black. So thank you so much. And as always, you can go to www.unitygold.us and click on the donate button. You can always send us a check in the mail, or you can always drop it off. We'd love to see people if you feel comfortable. Masks and social distancing and all of that. All right, so here we go. I know you're all waiting for this. This is such a, it's got a place, I think, in the American psychology. So here we go, Judy Garland, Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are
So we come to time for the announcements, and once again, we are working on a program to take action to overcome racism. And I would just point you to last Thursday's e-bulletin. If you did not read the article in there, please go and read that. It's about the relationship between racism and those who attend church. And it's a pretty shocking article. So again, I would encourage you to please make this part of your spiritual practice to not disengage from the whole racist problem in the country at the moment. We will have a spiritual exploration class on Tuesday. Not altogether sure what I'm going to do, but we will come up with something. And we continue to add to the wall, sad to say. And you know, you can always drop by the center if you want to see the wall of photos, and also then the wall of all of the names of the medics who have passed from COVID. And we have a social group meeting in the shaded parking lot on Thursday mornings from 9:30 to 10:30. All are welcome. So if you'd like to have some social interaction with safe distancing, then please join us at 9:30 on Thursday mornings. I know that that's important for some, especially those living alone. And oh, I really do miss Kansas Toto and Loverboy and Survivor, Rush, Styx, Journey, and Informer, but I miss Pink Floyd most of all. Just the little humor in the midst of it all. Okay, so we close this morning with our beautiful song, I Choose Love. Sing along.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us, that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one sun. I choose love.
So we recite our unity prayer together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is because I am, and all is